Hey everybody, this is Alzorath, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Hearthstone Arena Trials. This time we're actually going to be taking a look at our choices of three heroes here. We have the Shaman, which is Thrall, we have Jaina, which is a Mage, and Rexxar the Hunter. I'm torn between Jaina and Rexxar. I haven't played Rexxar much, but I kind of want to try something else out with the Mage, provided I can get the card. So we're going to go with that, and hopefully do a little better than we did with the Priest. So let's go ahead and choose Jaina. I can't say her name. Let's go ahead and choose her and go on ahead into the actual matches. Okay, first pick, not exactly enthralling. We have Taunt and Divine Shield from Sunwalker, which is really good, but he is a little bit weak. He's a 4/5, but that Divine Shield does give him a little bit more lasting durability, so he could trade possibly 2 for 1. Next we have the Young Priestess. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +1 health. It's good if you have a taunt wall up, but by herself she's pretty weak, and honestly she can be shot by too many things, such as myself. And last but not least, we have Master Swordsmith. At the end of your turn, give another friendly ally minion +1 attack. Out of these three, I'm torn between Sunwalker and Master Swordsmith. If I can get up a taunt wall, the Master Swordsmith does well to basically pump guys up, and he is a big shot magnet here, whereas Sunwalker is a little bit of a late game card that has a lot more survivability, and due to its taunt, it'll actually draw a lot of fire away. But in this case, I think, it's a real big terror here. I'm going to go ahead and go with Master Swordsmith because I want to be a little aggressive. I need sources of aggression. We have Mugashon Warden, which is a good little taunt guy. For fairly cheap, he's a 1/7 and can survive quite a bit. And we have Frostwolf Grunt, which is kind of a crappy taunt guy. He's a 2/2. He can trade with things, and he's really cheap to bring out, but he doesn't have much in the long game potential. And we have the Priestess of Elune, restore 4 health to your hero. Good if you're taking damage, not so good if you're not. I'm going to go with the Mugashon Warden because I want a little bit of taunt to hide behind. Okay, here we have a few other guys. We have Boulderfist Ogre, 6 for 6/7. Really good. He's pretty much a fairly cost-effective creature. Usually I would, in most TCGs, I would consider 6 cost for a 6/6 to be fine. So he's got a little bit above on the curve there. We got Wind Fury Harpy here with 4 damage and 5 life, but she has Wind Fury. She's the same cost as the Boulderfist, but has 8 potential damage. She takes a lot less hits though, so she has to be hidden behind a taunt wall to be extremely effective and be able to survive the turn. And last but not least, we have Fireball. Fireball is a good card. It's common, so I'm probably going to pass on it this run. I will pick it up later in the pick if possible, so I'm going to go with the Wind Fury Harpy simply because I like Wind Fury. Extremely useful card. It's even more useful if you can pump stuff, but by herself she's still fairly decent. Dalaran Mage is spell damage +1. Pretty good if I'm going to be doing a lot of spells. We have Jungle Panther, which is a stealth guy, 4/2. You saw him in the previous game. He didn't exactly serve me too well. And we have Cult Master that whenever one of my minions dies, I draw a card. Choices between Cult Master and Dalaran Mage. Dalaran Mage would be useful if I'm going for a lot of direct damage, but I'd rather go for control and rely on tricky allies such as the Master Swordsmith and the Wind Fury Harpy to go along. So I'm going to go with the Cult Master, I believe. He's a good target and he'll pull fire off of me as well. Okay, we have Arcane Missiles, 3 damage among random enemy characters. We have Mirror Image, which summons 2 minions with Taunt. They're 0/2s, but it's 1 cost, so it's basically a really good cost-effective card there. Even late game, it's fairly useful. And we have Cone of Cold, freeze a minion and the minions next to it, and deal 1 damage to them as well. It's between Mirror Image and Cone of Cold because I don't like the unreliability of Arcane Missiles. It's a good card, don't get me wrong. It's cheap and good, but these 2 cards just scream out to me even more. Out of these 2, I think I'm going to go with the Cone of Cold gives me more control. I'm going to go with Cone of Cold. We'll see how it serves us. Arcane Intellect, not too bad of a draw, but it is just a draw. Thrallmar Farseeker is Wind Fury. He's not bad, but he is a little bit weak. He's good at taking out the small guys you see early on. He is 3 cost, but he doesn't have charge, so he would be facing off against bigger guys than what we'd really want him facing. And Ironfur Grizzly is a 3/3 for 3. Not that great. I mean, Taunt does put him in the front line and makes him take the hit instead of another guy. That's probably the only reason I'd pick him, and I think that is why I'm going to pick him. But 3/3 for 3 is not a bad pick, so we're going to go ahead and go with that. Polymorph is a good control card. It shuts any guy down and removes their abilities, so it's definitely worthwhile, but early on it's not going to do much. It's more of a late game card against big guys. You have Ice Lance, where you freeze the character if it was already frozen, deal 4 damage to it instead. If we get more ice stuff like Cone of Cold, that can be extremely useful. And we have another Mogashan Warden, which is a 1/7 taunt. Mogashan Warden is nice, but it doesn't lead you to winning the game. Polymorph is nice, but, well, actually it would be nice in a control aspect. Could transform it into a sheep and shoot it. Ice Lance works well with Cone of Cold, but we haven't seen a lot of cold so far. We are 6 picks in. We still have 24 more to go, so we could actually go very much into an ice direction if we are lucky. And I think we'll risk it. We'll go ahead and go with that and try and get a low curve. Here we have the Bluegill Warrior, which is a Murloc, 2/1. If we had more Murlocs, or if Murlocs were a thing we could actually rely on, that would definitely be a good thing, but this is sealed deck, so it's not really going to do us much good. The Jungle Panther is nice. It can't be targeted until it unstealths, which means it'll almost guarantee a trade or at least some damage off it. Boulderfist Ogre is just a good big guy. It's between the Jungle Panther and the Boulderfist for me. I'm going to go with the Boulderfist because I do want a couple big guys in here, and he's pretty easy to get a hold of. Here we have Murloc Raider, which is going to just be ignored. Fireball and Polymorph. I think we're going to go with the Fireball, simply because it has more utility throughout the entire game compared to Polymorph. Okay, Questing Adventurer. Amazing card if you can play a lot of cards with it. Being 3 cost is good at late game. You drop it in behind a taunt guy, and yeah, it's lovely in that. Defender of Argus is another really good card. It gives your guys next to it taunt, which would be really good to play next to a Boulderfist Ogre. He'd be a nasty taunt guy, and we have another Sunwalker again. I'm torn between the Sunwalker and the Questing Adventurer. I think I'm going to go with the Questing Adventurer and rely on using cheaper cards and keep my curve low. Okay, we have Dark Iron Dwarf, which is a Battlecry guy. Gives minion +2 attack. We have South Sea Deckhand, which has charge while you have a weapon. We are mages, so we won't have that. And we have Wolf Rider, which is a 3/1 charge guy. Out of these 3, there really isn't much good to come from it. The charge from the Wolf Rider is a good trick. It's basically a really weak fireball for 1 cost less. It's half the damage for basically 1 mana less. We're going to go ahead and go with the Dark Iron Dwarf, simply because I like his Battlecry. It's a nice little trick. It can make one of your other guys decent. Okay, we get another Dark Iron Dwarf in here. We get an Ancient Brewmaster, which is good with taunt guys. You can drop it out, bring the taunt guy back to your hand, and then play him back out again. Obviously, with the Ancient Brewmaster, it's a later gameplay. There is a cheaper option for this, but chances of me getting him are pretty slim considering it is a draft. We're going to go ahead, not draft, a sealed format. Dark Iron Dwarf versus Ancient Brewmaster. We can't really guarantee getting out our, where is she? There she is. Our Wind Fury Harpy, because we only have 1 of her. So pumping her is not going to be the best plan, or gearing around pumping her, but these little tricks are fairly useful. I think I'm going to go with the Dark Iron Dwarf and see what I can play off with that. Okay, let's see. Leper Gnome. Deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. Not too bad. He's a 2/1. He'll trade for something and deal the damage. We have the Elven Archer, which honestly a lot of people don't like, but I find it to be a nice little trick. You can deal 1 damage and then finish it off with another character. It's not a first turn play. It is honestly a late game play for me, because it does help push you over that edge. And we have, whenever this minion takes damage, gain +3 attack. I wonder if that's just a weird misprint, because there are creatures. I wonder if it's a enrage ability, or if it's just temporary, or if it's just always every single time he takes damage, which could be useful, but I don't have any way of healing him. It would be much better in a priest deck. Out of these, I think I want some small guys. I think I'm going to go with the Death Rattle rather than the Battlecry, simply because they're both 1 cost and he will trade better with things. Mirror Entity is a secret. Not really that useful. We could drop it out and hope he plays a big guy. It would be a late game play, but chances of us actually seeing that be useful is fairly slim. Corehound is just a big nasty beast that will trade with anything that hits it, but it does die to a fireball or anything like that. It's between the Corehound and the Mirror Entity. I am reluctant to play with secrets. They're interesting, but I'm not so sure that I actually want to use that. I would rather have just a guaranteed guy, but it is cheap, so we can consider it. And this is sealed format. Let's go ahead and try it. We'll go for it. We can get a Core Hound later. We have another Fireball. We have a Venture Co. Mercenary, which I don't want. I don't want my guys costing more. And we have another Delron Mage. It's between the Delron Mage and the Fireball. The Fireball is just more universally useful. Cone of Cold again. We have a Wisp. And we have a Razorfin Hunter. Razorfin Hunter summons a Boar. Wisp is just a free guy. That's a 1/1. I want to build a deck around Wisps to see if I can, but that would be more of a Priest or a Paladin type thing. We're going with Cone of Cold. More control. Arcane Explosion. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. Good for kind of sweeping the board a little bit, but there is a better higher end option. Armani Berserker is +3 attack and rage. I could ping it with my ability and make it a 5/2, which isn't bad for 2 cost. And we have the Frostwolf Grunt. It's between the Armani Berserker and the Arcane Explosion. I think I'm going to go with the Armani Berserker because I do have the ability to ping it. Okay, we have Frost Elemental, Magma Rager, and the Stormwind Champion. Out of this pick, hands down Stormwind Champion for me. Frost Elemental is a good pick. It can freeze a guy. It works well with our Ice Lance, but we are not going to be relying on a card we only have one of. The Stormwind Champion just gives all our guys a much more stable base to work with. Magma Rager, it's too short term. If it had charge, it would be great, but it doesn't, so it's just a 1/1 trade. A 1-for-1 trade, so we're going with Stormwind Champion. Here we have some options. We have another Armani Berserker. We can make him mad with our ability. We have Frost Nova, which will freeze all enemy minions, which is what I'm going to pick, and we have a Wisp. Frost Nova is good because it synergizes with the Ice Lance, and it delays everything so we can actually just take over the board, and it's only enemy minions, so we're going to go with that, and we don't have to shoot ourselves to do it. Oh, we get another rare. Let's see. Ethereal Arcanist. If you control a secret at the end of your turn, gain +2/+2. Our secret won't last long enough to actually use that guy's ability, so he's not that useful for us. We have Arcane Golem, which has charge and battle cry. Give your opponent a mana crystal, which I don't really like. I don't like giving them the ability to play more, but it is a 4/2 charge guy. And we have Bloodcell Corsair, which is remove 1 durability from your opponent's weapon. If we run across a warrior deck, the Bloodcell Corsair would be good. He's a 1-cost 1/2. I don't like any of these, honestly. They're not cost efficient and they're not that good for what we want to do. It's either between Ethereal Arcanist and Bloodcell Corsair. It's whichever one is less bad for us. We want low cost guys. We're going to go with Bloodcell Corsair. Frostbolt is good. It freezes a character and deals damage to it. We have Sen'jin Shieldmaster here, which I actually want to pick because he is really good. He's a really good taunt guy, and I'm not sure how much taunt we actually have. Let's go ahead and scroll down real quick. We have 1 Iron for Grizzly. We have some Fireballs. We have a Cult Master. We don't have much taunt at all. We have 1 Magashan Warden. Yeah, nothing really amazing here. We may need to pick up the Sen'jin Shieldmaster, although I would love this Frostbolt. Archmage is another good one, but again, we don't have the taunt wall to protect it. And we want to kind of lean into the cheap. Frostbolt, though, does have the nice synergy with other stuff. Crap. It is removal. We have Cone of Cold, Fireball, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and go with the Sen'jin Shieldmaster, I believe. Or we could pump the Archmage later on, but no, we're going with Sen'jin. We need taunt. Battle Cry, another Dark Iron Dwarf. We have Shattered Sun Clerk. Gives a friendly minion +1/+1. Good for pumping up our taunt guys if we need them. And it is a 3-cost 3/3. Again, nice economy in the cost of the abilities there. The Dark Iron Dwarf is again 4/4/4/4. Stormwind Knight does not serve us very well. Charge is nice, but he's a little expensive. If he had taunt instead of charge, he'd be decent. We're gonna go ahead and go with the. Let's go with the Sun Clerk. Cheaper, and I like it a little bit better than the Dwarf. We have another Wind Fury Harpy. That's definitely a good thing. The Raging Worgen, Wind Fury and +1 attack. He's good if he can survive. We don't have much of a taunt wall, so we're not going to be looking there too much. Acolyte of Pain is a good draw engine. So it's between the Wind Fury Harpy and the Acolyte of Pain. I think I want the Wind Fury Harpy just because she's more aggressive, but the Acolyte of Pain does give you a nice draw advantage, especially since I can ping him myself. He doesn't trade out very well, though. So let's go ahead and get the Wind Fury Harpy. We have 2 of them. We'll go ahead and focus on pumping them. We have Taunt guys and an Ice Lance. Ice Lance is good if they're already frozen. We have a little bit of freezing through Cone of Cold and Frost Nova, but not enough to really rely on. So I think I'm going to go with the Magashan Warden and give us another little taunt guy that can survive. Goldshire Footman, 1/2 taunt. I prefer my 1 cost for his 2, where is it? Mirror Image. Mirror Entity. No? Whatever. I prefer the one that gives you 2/0/2 taunt guys. Arcane Explosion, another mass removal, and Cult Master. Whenever one of your other minions dies, draw a card. We're going to go with the Cult Master. Let's see. Scarlett Crusader has a Divine Shield. This is kind of an interesting card, simply because she comes into play. She has to be dealt damage twice to die. So she could trade out with 2 cards, or she could get direct damage and then trade out, or any of those other things. Voodoo Doctor, not too enthralled with him. He's a 2/1, 1 cost that restores 2 health. Okay mid-game, crappy late, and crappy early. So he's not really applicable through the entire game. Arcane Explosion, deal 1 damage. Good for finishing guys off. I think we're going to go with the Arcane Explosion. Lord of the Arena. Love that guy. 6/5, taunt. He trades really well, and he's a big threat on the board. We got Frost Elemental here for freezing a character. Same reasons as earlier, I might not pick him. And Ancient Brewmaster, again, is another, basically, guy that returns things to your hand. Good for returning taunt guys. But I think I'm going to go with Lord of the Arena, because we do have a decent low end. We have a huge spike there. It's not exactly a great curve. It's actually a very horrible curve, because turn 4 is a little bit after the kind of most important turns in any game. Let's go ahead and get the Lord of the Arena. Okay, Kobold Geomancer, not too bad of a choice there, and we have Guru Bosch Berserker again, and a Wisp. Geomancer is kind of nice because it will boost our spell damage. We don't have a lot of spells. I mean, we have Fireball, we have Ice Lance, and we have, where's the other one that deals damage? Cone of Cold, but they're not doing a lot of damage in of themselves. So it's going to be between the Guru Bosch Berserker and the Wisp. Although the Geomancer does work well with our fireballs and our ice damage. Wow, I'm surprised no mass removal here has been presented. We could go Kobold Geomancer to synergize with the Arcane Explosion, but I do need more low end as well. It's a hard decision. Let's go ahead and we'll play it. Yeah, we'll play it a little bit softer, get low end stuff. There's our Flame Strike, along with another Geomancer, and cost 1 less to attack per weapon, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to be getting Dread Corsair. He's not useful for us. We're going to go and get Flame Strike. It's just straight up the best card there. And our last one is going to be Ice Block. Whenever your hero takes fatal damage, prevent it and become immune this turn. Kind of a bad card. It's only useful if you're losing. So I'm not going to get that one. Choose a minion and become a copy of it. Faceless Manipulator. Pretty good card. It's 5 cost, so it's a little higher on the curve, but it is useful, and we don't have any pirates, so we're not going to pick the South Sea Captain. Faceless Manipulator has the best ability to serve us, and that is our deck. So I hope you guys will join me on the gameplay footage as we try and not suck quite so horribly this time. We got 3 wins and 3 losses last time, which wasn't horrible. It's a 50-50 win rate, which, given the random nature of things, isn't terrible, but I'd rather have it be much, much higher. I'd rather be winning more than losing. But let's go ahead and jump on in, and we'll see how we can do, and I will see you guys on the next episode of Let's Play Hearthstone Arena Trials. Bye.